You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little bit past 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. You know what that means on the Sports Objective Podcasting Network. It is time for just another sports podcast with me, your host, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. And alongside me, as he is each and every week, is the head coach of Northeast Academy from Lasker, North Carolina, the suburbs of Virginia, as it's otherwise known as Mr. Stevie Flythe. Stevie, welcome into the show.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Stevie, I found out something new about you today. I'm going to start calling you the Big Boss Man.
Yeah. I'm definitely, or look just like Ray Traylor, don't I?
Yeah. That's
I could do the whole baton flip and everything, just like he used to do.
And I just found that interesting. You know, you said that for henceforth, you are the Big Boss Man.
Yep, I'm the big boss man, buddy.
So tonight we are going to welcome in from East Carolina football past, and best known for that 1983 team that people remember well, speak fondly of, one of the greatest teams in East Carolina history.
Yeah.
Mr. Norman Quick. Norman, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us, guys. I'm looking forward to this. And that was a great team, and we had some great team. I had some great team members, and it's something I can remember for the rest of my life. I really enjoyed it.
Norman, we'll start out kind of from the beginning. I know your dad was a Pirate. He played here in the 40s or the 50s?
49, 50s, somewhere around there. Then he got drafted, so he had to leave.
Okay, so only played here 1 or 2 years.
Yeah,
before he was drafted to service.
Went into the draft. Yes.
Korean War.
Don't ask me.
Okay.
I wasn't born in 49. No, I don't know.
Okay, I figured you normally guys like to talk about the military service. So
yeah.
So we'll talk about your career here. Something you will know more about. Talk about how you became a Pirate. Your recruiting process out of high school. I read earlier. I was doing a little research. It sounds like you had offers from NC State and Duke also.
Yeah, I did, and I went on a visit, and John Floyd, who's my best friend to today, was my host, and I just had a great time. And Coach Emery was a big factor in choosing East Carolina. You know, I love him to today. You know, and he's like a father to me. But it just felt like the best place for me. It's college town. You know, Duke just wasn't me. I mean, I'm no brain scientist or anything, but East Carolina was just it was just for me. I knew it when I came up here, and like I said, I met my best friend for life, John Floyd, and he showed me around and had a great time, and I committed and signed, and everything else was, I played at Scotland High School, and I had two other teammates, Jeff McGee's and Tony Smith, who played. I had one, Harold Blue was there already, so I had some friends there that came in with me. So, and then later on, Greg Quick came, and Petey Davis and John Williamson. We had a bunch from Scotland High School that came to East Carolina, and all of us loved it and still do.
It's just an interesting question, just in general, and I know you coach high school ball, but without even getting into the transfer portal and all that, you mentioned choosing East Carolina over NC State and Duke because you thought it was the right fit. It felt right, and you had friends here, etc. Do you think kids now sometimes just choose the big name more so than what feels right and what the best fit is for them sometimes?
Yeah, I think sometimes they do. And sad thing about it right now, I think they're going for the money more than going to the best place for them, and then it ends up not being where they want to be or anything like that. So it works out for some, but as my wife, she asked me a question. But anyway, sometimes they go for the wrong reasons and not happy, and then that's when you get in the portal and all that stuff. And I don't know, our game's changed a lot with the portal and NIL. I think it's hurt our program. I really do, because I mean, we're trying to compete with people that's making millions of dollars. Even in the Charlotte team, that guy's the coach is a multi-millionaire, and he gives $500,000 to the program himself, and so they've got players that have been paid, and it's just gonna make it tougher on us.
Yeah, and we got to be smart with NIL, and not that it's an excuse, but it is something that definitely needs to be addressed, no matter who the coach is at East Carolina. And fans need to step up, business owners need to step up, because it's part of the game now. And I think it's tough for some people. You know, you got your average Joe that's making, 40 to 80,000 a year. You know, it's hard for them to get in their mind to pay a player, but you can join Team Boneyard, which is our NIL collective. You can join that for as little as $10 a month. And if you don't think $10 means anything, well, if everybody who goes to that football game on Saturday would give $10 a month, it sure would add up fast.
Oh yeah, I think that would be great. I got a good friend who's a Tar Heel fan. I don't like saying that, but he's a big. I mean, he's from Scotland County. He's a big supporter at Scotland High School, where we went to school and where I coached at some. And he's a big alumni in Chapel Hill at North Carolina, and he told me he is so tired of them asking him for money. Yeah. He's about to the point that he's getting where he wants to get out. So I think that's going to be a problem also.
Yeah, I have a friend who's a Southern Miss fan, and he says, Kyle, this NIL thing is just not sustainable long term. He said even these rich guys are going to get tired of playing players after about 5 years, and I think he's right. And I don't think NIL will go away, but I think it'll probably be more. I think there'll be more of a standard. I almost think there's going to get to be a point where there's going to be a market cap instead of it just being a free market.
Yep.
So I hope so. I hope you're exactly right.
Well, I think it's going to have to be. Either that, or there's just going to go ahead and be a split where your so-called Group of Five schools, and probably even a couple of schools that are currently in the Power Five, are playing a level of Division I, and then the Power Five are playing. I could see that happening too. But anyway, go ahead.
It's getting to the point where before the NFL, if the NFL didn't have a salary cap, I mean, you look at
some players are going to take a pay cut when they go to the league.
Exactly. I mean, what was who was it? The kid from the quarterback from USC.
Yeah,
Caleb Williams. Wants part ownership of a team when he gets drafted by. Come on now.
Yeah, it's because the amount of money
exactly.
He's doing Nissan commercials. It's insane. I mean, I don't mean like for the local Nissan dealership in Los Angeles. I mean for Nissan. So while he's in college, how much do you think he's making from Nissan doing their national advertisement? Probably $400,000 or $500,000.
Well, was it Baycott is making at Carolina? He's making more money he will in the NBA.
Yeah, it's insane.
For sure.
It's insane. And some of that stuff's going to have to be reeled in, and I think it will, or I think there's going to be a split. And, we'll see what happens. I'm honestly to the point, as much as I hate to say it, I'd almost welcome a split at this point. I'm so sick of. Anyway, we're going to focus on your career. I'm going to get off on a tangent.
Yeah, we can get off on this for a while.
So, Norman, you come here under Coach Emery. What was your initial impressions of Coach Emery? I know he was known as being a great recruiter.
Great recruiter. I mean, we got some great players, and that's back when you had to do it the right way, But he brought in some great players, Kevin Ingers, Terry Long. We had a bunch of good players, hard-nosed, and, it all wasn't, we had some talented players, don't get me wrong, but we had some hard-working kids, and we all worked in the weight room, and we got along great. and together. And it didn't matter from 1 to 75 or whatever player it was. We all got along, and all of us were good players. And but that's basically it as far as that's concerned. But I mean, it's something I remember the rest of my life. Like I said before, I had a great career there and enjoyed every minute of it.
Your freshman season was 81, is that right?
Would have been 80.
80.
Okay. You redshirted, didn't you?
Well, matter of fact, I used to wear. You had a green jersey if you're on a scout team. Then you had a gold jersey if you're a second team, and purple if you were on the first team. And it's a funny story. John Floyd, me and him both were on a scout team, and he comes in and he's got a gold jersey. Well, practice gets rained out, and then the next day he has a green jersey, so he's back on the scout team. But I worked my way up during my freshman year because I was going to the defense line with Coach Broadway, and he asked Coach Emery to come down. He said, I got a guy that's blocking us all over the place, and so he came down here, and I got moved up and had a chance to play. Wayne Inman was in front of me. He was a senior, and he tore his knee up on an extra point, and so we were going to Florida State, and I got moved up, and I was alternating with Bud Laycock, and he was also a senior, and he was a junior, and I was a true freshman. And then the next practice, I hurt my knee, so then I did get redshirted. I had messed up my ligaments in my right knee, and so I did get redshirted, which was the best thing that could have happened at the time.
Everybody talks about the 83 team, but I want to talk a little bit about 82. You guys went 7-4, if I remember right.
Exactly.
I heard Ed Emery one time in an interview. I don't know who you'll know. Obviously, you played for him. The offensive coordinator that year left out of the 82 season. You have to talk about him and who he was. I heard Ed Emery say one time if he didn't lose him, he thinks you guys would have went undefeated in 83.
Yeah, that was Larry Beckish.
Okay.
And Coach Maytosh, they went together. I think he went to Wichita State. Is that right?
I have no idea.
Minnesota. I can't remember exactly where he went. But he was a great one. And he brought Coach Emery brought in Coach Baker, who I love. Coach Baker, he's a great person. Really was real religious, and he was just a great person. But the offense we ran was a freeze option, and it was invented by Larry Beckish.
Okay.
And we were 7-4. The year before we were 6-5. Then we went 7-4, and then of course 8-3.
Okay, so it was a build because everybody talks about the 83 team, but you hear very little about the build to that. Right. And what was your biggest win of the 82 season when you guys went 7-4?
Trying to think who the years get, as coaching high school football.
Did you beat Southern Miss that year? I know we always played Southern Miss every year back then.
Yeah, we beat them in 83 too. I don't know if we beat. I know NC State we beat them in 83. 82. I think we lost to them.
Yeah, he lost to State in 82. The wins were East Tennessee State, Central Michigan, Richmond, Illinois State.
Yeah.
Texas Arlington, William and Mary, and Temple. I don't even see Southern Miss up here.
Really?
Southern Miss was 83 in the
82. It was not a Southern Miss game up here.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Probably the Temple game, I'd say.
Yeah. It was a nice win.
Who did we lose to? I can't even remember who we lost to.
Lost to NC State, Missouri, Florida State, and West Virginia.
Yep.
Your first start was at West Virginia, wasn't it? In 81. Yeah. Was that in 81?
81. My freshman year. Yep. 81.
What was it like playing up there? Their fans are notorious these days. Well, really over the last 20, 30 years for being some of the worst fans in college football in a good way in terms of being hard on the opposing team. Were they that in 81?
Yes, it was. It definitely was. I remember walking, getting there, and we walk on the field first as soon as you put your stuff up in your street clothes. I mean, your clothes, your dress clothes, walking on the field, and their fans out there drinking liquor and having a great time. And first thing I heard one of them say is, "Look, they brought the cheerleaders here early." Calling us cheerleaders. It was funny, but there were some rowdy fans, and they had some good football teams back there.
I remember. can't remember who it was. Somebody from Logan era we had on. It might have been Semenza, who obviously we have on all the time. I have to ask Matt about this if it was him. Talked about batteries being thrown at them.
Oh wow!
Up in Morgantown. So yeah, their fans are rather notorious. Well, we'll jump into the '83 season. I'm sorry. Obviously, that's the one everybody talks about. 5 points away from beating Florida State, and Miami. Had the win over Missouri when they didn't know who we were, called us Eastern Carolina and all
exactly.
that. Beat NC State, just one of the greatest teams in ECU history. So, talk about going into that season. Fall camp, spring football and fall camp going into that season. Did you guys realize how good you were going to be?
Yeah, we did. We were, like I said, a close knit team, and we really worked hard in the weight room with Coach Gentry, and our kids were really, really strong, and we kind of knew we were going to be pretty good because every spring that we went there it was like war. It was all out hitting every minute of the day, but that spring before that season, we didn't do as much because I really think they knew we were going to be pretty good. I mean, not that we didn't do nothing, but it's physical because he knew it was the same guys mostly coming back, and he knew that we were physical, and I think the biggest thing is keep everybody healthy to get to the '83 season.
So you get to the '83 season, and Stevie's a little older than me, and I'm admittedly only 43 years old. I've watched the documentary on YouTube. By the way, for anybody out there listening, there's a documentary on YouTube about the '83 team. I'm not sure what year it was made. It was made in the '80s. Obviously, you can tell by the production. But if you haven't ever seen that documentary, for anybody out there watching and listening, find it on YouTube. But Stevie, I'm gonna kind of let you drive it from here as we kind of go game by game through the '83 season, if you want to take it.
All right, I got you. Excuse me. So the Florida State game, you guys head down to Florida State's ranked 7th, and you guys, you're going back and forth on it. Actually built a 10-point lead with them. What was the atmosphere like? Because I know in the documentary they showed the horse out there on the field, the whole pregame thing, and the horse got a little spooked. It looked like, and they were saying, well, they knew ECU was coming. But talk a little bit about, because I know Henry Williams had a big game that day, but getting that big lead on them, and how confident were you guys playing against Florida State?
Oh, we were very confident. And the thing about the horse getting spooked, we were jacked, and we really felt confident in playing against them, and we were jacked. And I think that's what kind of we were on the field and kind of. I don't know how it's about as wild as you could get back then. Not like today's time, but the horse did spook and couldn't really get his spear down or whatever. Right. And we were very confident, and we were very, very confident. And we had a great night on offense, and struggled a little on defense. But our defense really, after that game, was really the best part of our team. Was probably our defense. Right. That particular game, we had a hard time stopping them, but they were a good football team, like you said, 7th in the country.
Yeah, they ended up beating Carolina in the Peach Bowl that year, 28-3.
So, oh yeah,
yeah. So, but you had a chance. You actually had a chance. You're in good field position to maybe kick the game-winning field goal, and an unfortunate turnover ends that threat. But you guys had them on the ropes, and probably, if not for that turnover, win that game.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know y'all don't have the opportunity to see the film like we got.
I was going to ask you about this. Was that a fumble?
No, it was not. He hit the ground. He rolled, then the ball rolls out of his arm. I mean, we were right there, and then we got the opportunity to watch it on film over and over and over. But it was not a fumble, and that's hard.
I actually talked to Kyle earlier, and I was like, it seems to me I remember a lot of talk about that was not a fumble.
Yeah, it was not. It was not.
Talk a little bit about Kevin Ingram. I told Kyle, I said, Kyle is, like you said, he had to throw the old age thing up there on me. But I became an ECU fan in '82. My cousin was one of the managers up there later on, and we just followed ECU But talk a little bit about Kevin Ingram, because I think Kevin Ingram for that team was the perfect quarterback for that team and that system.
Oh yeah, Kevin Ingram was a special quarterback, and it's kind of everybody talks about who was the best quarterback ever played. We've had some good ones at East Carolina. We've had some real good ones,
Right.
and I think he ranks up there with them. I mean,
definitely.
he played years in the Canadian League, but I mean, he's not the one that's going to drop back and throw it 50 times, but he could throw it good enough, and he was an exceptional athlete, and he was the thing that made us go on our offense. But I think he was one of the better quarterbacks to ever play at East Carolina. I'm a little biased, but I'm
You're
telling
right.
you,
I agree.
he was special, very special.
Because I mean, he's in a totally different system than what those other quarterbacks that you're talking about was in, and where just like you said, he could throw the ball when he needed to, but his feet, he killed you with his feet. Then you got the state game, which is nationally televised on TBS. You go down to Raleigh, and state builds a lead on you guys. You guys come back and get the win. Talk a little bit about that state rivalry and what it was like beating them on national television.
Oh, that was probably one of the highlights of my career. Not just my career playing, but as a team, upsetting them because everybody didn't expect us to, and our defense played great, and then our offense struggled a little bit, but we ended up playing better and better and got better by the end of the game, and we moved the ball, get down there and wouldn't score, but it was a great team win, and it was wild after that game. I'm telling you, the fans were on the field. It was just it was great, and anytime you can beat anybody from your state of North Carolina, Duke, whoever it is in North Carolina, it's great. But it was a great win for us.
What was it like coming back home? You talk about after the game. What was it about coming back? What was it like being a football player in Greenville in 1983, just beating NC State in terms of the student body? Did you get a lot of extra attention from the female population?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, yeah, it was great when we got back. I mean, there was fans waiting on us when we got back, and it was just a great atmosphere. And that's the thing that I tell people. I've been coaching for 39 years in high school, and they ask me about East Carolina. I'm not going to tell them where to go, but I do tell them how good I had it at East Carolina and how great the town is at East Carolina and the fans. It's to me, and I've been coaching, and I've been a lot of college places. To me, it was kind of like Clemson with a lower budget. But, I mean, it's a college town, and everybody loves football. And when we got back, it was something else with the fans being there and everything. And it was it was a different atmosphere just after that win.
So then you Murray State, you guys put 50 on them with them. But then a game that doesn't get talked about a lot, but I'm pretty sure you guys had it circled on your calendar. Missouri. The year before, you guys get beat by Missouri, and like Kyle said, they didn't know who you guys were. You were Eastern Carolina, going down there and playing a Big 8 team at the time. What was it? What was the mindset going down there to play Missouri?
Oh, I thought I really think felt like we were on a roll, and played Florida State, which I think we should have won and could have won, and then beating NC State. And Murray State was really an easy game for us,
right.
Then going there, it was big that we wanted to beat a big time school, other than ones in our backyard like a Florida State, Missouri, those type teams, and we come out with a win. It was a great win for us.
Yeah. Then Louisiana, you guys just get by them 21-18. Temple, which was a big rivalry back then, I got a 24-10 win. Then we get to another Florida team. Florida State was ranked 7th at the time. Florida was ranked 6th. Now this was probably you guys lose 17-24, but going into Florida and the way that game ended, because if you watch the documentary, you'll see an interception late in the game when it's tied. I don't know I couldn't tell if it was a questionable call or anything like that, but Florida gets the ball back, gets the first down, goes down the field, scores a winning touchdown. What was that game like against Florida?
To be honest with you, I think Florida, to me at that time, was a lot better atmosphere than actually Florida State at that time. As far as the crowd's concerned, they had some great players too. Wilbur Marshall,
yeah,
a lot of real good. Nate Newton's brother was the nose guard. They had some really awesome running backs that played in the NFL.
Yeah, Neil Anderson, Lorenzo Hampton, John L. Williams.
And they had a quarterback, Wayne Pieces, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They had a real good team, and I thought we actually played good enough that we could have beat them also. And in the intersections we had, Clint Harris, who had a career game with I don't know how many interceptions he ended up with, but he had a few. And the last one that he had, which could kind of put us on the way to upsetting them, they called a pass interference or defense hold on the other side of the field. So, it's that kind of way you get out of it when you go to back then when you go to the big time schools, they didn't want them to lose. That's
something I said to Kyle earlier before we went on the air. I was talking about that. I said about the fumble. I was like, I guess that they didn't want Florida State to lose to little old ECU on their home field either. But and same situation here probably. And then you guys go East Tennessee State, get a win over them, and then you get traveling right back to Florida, Miami, Florida, ranked number 5, and you guys hold them to 12 points and have a chance to win at the end. And reading up on it, Coach Emery said if Norwood Van would have did what he said to do on that last play and just stayed under the goalpost, they would have won that game. Do you recall anything about that play?
Oh yeah, I can remember. I dream about it. But with that being said, Norwood Van shouldn't be put at fault. He was
no.
He was such a great athlete. Any other athlete being a tight end couldn't have got all there where he got it. He should stay down on the goal line as far as the goalpost. That was his landmark. But he was just trying to make a play, and he was such a great athlete that he ran into our receiver who was going to catch the ball. Stephon Adams, and so. But I'll tell you that Miami team was probably one of the best teams we've ever faced, and I'm talking about as far as defense and offense too. Our defense played out of this world with Bernie Kosar, but their defense was unbelievable too. And that's the same team that won the national championship that year.
Yeah, they're 11-1 national champions, and you guys
beat Nebraska.
held them to 12 points. I mean, you had just looking at the roster, some of the guys on the roster. Albert Bentley, Speedy Neal, who was good, a good college player, Bernie Kosar, Alonzo Highsmith, just to name a few. I remember the Shakespeare guy. He was a good wide receiver, but at that time I've heard that the Orange Bowl officials came into you guys' locker room and told you how impressed they were with y'all, and y'all should be going to a bowl game. Is that true?
Yeah, the Orange Bowl was there for them because if they won, they were going to Orange Bowl to play Nebraska for the national championship, and they came into our locker room and told us that they were very, very impressed with us, and they were about 100%. They say almost 100% sure that we would get a bowl bid, and unfortunately, we didn't. But that was disappointing.
That's something that I talk about every time. I've interviewed a lot of ECU players, a lot of the Peach Bowl players, and I go back to that with them. I've had Reggie Branch on my show before. We talked about it. I was like, what did you guys feel like? I mean, you guys end up winning the last 2 games against William and Mary and Southern Miss. You outscored them 50-12. So I guess you were kind of taking your frustrations out on them.
Yeah.
Was that, I remember that from the documentary. Obviously, unlike Stevie, I'm a little younger. I don't remember the game. I don't remember the game from when it happened, but that Southern Miss game from the documentary, there was tornado warnings during that game. What do you remember about that? Mud ball. Okay, was there? But it seemed like there was a tornado or something like that.
Yeah, they had they had to stop the game and go back on the field. It was by far. I mean, I don't see how you really today, if you play a game like that, you could end up playing a game. But the field was so bad, but we ended up coming back and playing. And I thought we were a lot better than them, but it kind of the mud and everything kind of slowed us down a little bit. But it made it a good game. They had a good team. They were 8-3 too, so
Yeah,
it ended up being 8-3 too. So it was a good game, but it was a good memory to get on top of that. And everybody went sliding in the mud afterwards. And
yep, I
having
saw
a great
that.
time.
Did you guys think you were going to a bowl? I mean, there wasn't a lot of bowls at that time. I don't know how many there were.
You didn't have like 70 bowls for like
No.
everybody to go to. It meant something when you went to a bowl back then.
Yeah, I know we had went to the Independence Bowl in '78. Was that an option? I mean, what was being discussed, or was there any bowl discussion realistically?
Yeah, there was discussion of us going somewhere like the Independence Bowl and stuff like that. But and we thought, man, there was no way that we couldn't go to a bowl game being 8-3. I mean, I think Carolina was 7-4, 8-3. I don't care where they were, but they ended up going and playing Florida State, like you said at the beginning.
Yeah, the Peach Bowl.
Yeah. But that was disheartening. It's kind of like my senior year in high school. We were 9-1, ranked number 1 in the state for 7 weeks in a row, and we lose to Richmond County, which the Bishops don't let me let that down. But we were 9-1 and lost 8, and we don't even go to the playoffs because only took one team out of the. Now you get 4 teams. One of the teams in our conference hadn't won, but 1 or 2 games, and they're going to the playoffs. When they win, they get 4th place and go to the playoffs. Where we were 9-1 and didn't get to go at all. So that's kind of the feeling I had after we didn't get a bowl bid. It's very disappointing, and what much you could say, but that's one of the hardest things I've had to deal with. That and then my senior year in high school.
Yeah, that just always has seemed to me. I've gone several times to say about what a ripoff that was to have an 8-3 team that lost to 3 Florida teams ranked in the top 7 by combined 13 points, and to lose to the national champions by 5 points.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy, but I guess that's how it goes. Just disrespecting ECU.
Yeah, then it happened again in '96.
Yeah. So it's a trend. But talk a little bit about some of your teammates. And I'm a Steelers fan, have been for as long as I know football. But I was so thrilled as a kid when I saw Terry Long get drafted by the Steelers, and he goes on to have a pretty good career with Pittsburgh. What was it like in that weight room with Terry Long? Because you hear some incredible stories about that.
Oh yeah, he brought it in the weight room like no other. I mean, I can remember him crapping on himself while doing squats and stuff like. He just went. He was all out. I mean, he loved the weight room. But all our guys did, man. And he might have been the one. You got Steve Hamilton, who was strong. Jeff McGee's. A lot of our kids were strong, real strong. And I think that was the backbone of our team, being strong. Coach Gentry always tells us we're the strongest team in the country. And with all the thing in Nebraska being right there with us, being the strongest team in the country. But that was the thing that made us good, was the weight room. And he was the leader of that weight room because he loved it now. He loved it.
You hear so many Pirates from the past, from your era back to before that, to the Pat Dye era, and then all the way through the Logan era. Talk about strength and conditioning. All the Logan guys talk about Jeff Connors. You talk about how strong you guys were. Something we've kind of gotten away from as a program is really priding ourselves on being better conditioned than everybody else. Talk about that. What did you guys just know you had to work harder than everybody else to beat the teams like Missouri, et cetera? Or what made you guys? What was the driving force? Was it just part of the culture? What made you guys take conditioning and strength so seriously?
I think we were 6-5, and 7-4, and I think we were getting to be a pretty good team, a real good team, and we had a drive. Our drive was to win them all, and we had a very good chance of doing that with the scores, like they were. But we really enjoyed the weight room and really worked hard, and we knew it was going to make us better. We knew it was going to make us better, and we knew we had to be strong when you play teams like Florida, Miami, Florida State, Missouri, NC State. And so we knew we had to buckle down and do it, and we did. And we were a strong football team. A lot of us were.
What about a guy probably have one of the most successful careers as a Pirate in the NFL, Ernest Biner? What was it like playing with Ernest Biner?
Oh, Ernest Biner was great, man. He was probably the hardest working guy, and he was a leader, man. I can remember having to run gassers, and I was about to die, and he was the one behind me coming back, pulling us and getting us, encouraging us. But he was a phenomenal person and a leader on our football team. Definitely. Him and Tony Baker. Tony
Baker is another one too. I mean, that backfield, you had Biner and Baker back there. That was a pretty great backfield back then.
Oh yeah, we had Jimmy Walden and Reggie Branch. We had a bunch of good players, and they were great players, man. And not only that, they were great teammates, and they were leaders of our football team.
Talk about another one of your teammates that went on to be a legend in the CFL, known as Gizmo up there, Henry Williams.
Yeah, we just called him Hump, but yeah. Gizmo when he went to the league, but he was phenomenal, man. He did things in practice you didn't see. Like we'd punt the ball and he'd be way over about 20 yards to the left, and like he was catching. All of a sudden he'd run full speed and catch the ball on a dead sprint. He was just an unbelievable athlete. And,
could you do a backflip like him?
No. I could not.
Yeah, he started a trend through high school sports. We had a kid at my high school, which I was just in middle school then, but our high school, every time he scored, he tried to do a backflip like Henry did. But as a longtime high school coach now, do you find yourself taking any of Coach Emery's things that he would say to you, or the way he coached you into your coaching career?
Oh yeah, he coached hard now. I mean, you didn't goof off, and that's kind of what I do. I coach hard and I treat them right, but I'm going to be tough on them, and that's the way he was. And I learned a lot from Coach Emery. I learned a lot from my high school coaches. My position coach was Coach Zernhelt, who was an outstanding offensive line coach, probably one of the best line coaches in the country. But both of them were big influences in my coaching career.
So where are you coaching now?
Right now I'm coaching in Dillon. I coached 30 years in North Carolina, and I was at very good programs. I was at Scotland High School, I was at Richmond County, and I was at Crest High School, and was able to win a state championship at each one of them. Then I went to Dillon to coach. I coached 3 years there, and because I went to South Carolina to double dip, make some more money.
Yeah.
Is in retired North Carolina. I went there, and then I went to, and we won a couple state championships then. And then I went to Carolina Forest, where Mason Garcia was when I went there. I was there 2 years, and then I came back home to Laurinburg and went back to Dillon because my mom health wasn't very good. So I came back to take care of her. So I'm at Dillon right now. It's my 39th year.
Wow, 39 years in high school.
39 years.
You're doing something right. So were you on staff at Carolina Forest when Mason was there?
Yes, I was.
Talk about Mason in high school, and he clearly has Division I talent. So just talk about him in high school.
He was different, man. I mean, you talking about strong. And we talk about our 83 team, he's that type person. I mean, I can remember being in the weight room with him, and he played basketball. And when they had a basketball game, we tell him to go to the back and lift light because they had a game that night. He said, "No, Coach, I'm standing up front. I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out." And so he's in there lifting his butt off, and the basketball coach comes in and said, "Well, he's going to be real great tonight." The basketball coach, he loved football, but he was also wanting him to be good that night against Myrtle Beach. Well, Mason ended up scoring like 28 points and had like 19 rebounds.
Oh, wow.
So we said next time he probably needs a little harder. He might get 30. But he was a phenomenal athlete, man. He can run, strong, great teammate. Everybody, all the kids love him, and he's probably got the strongest arm I've ever seen on a kid. And
Why? Go ahead.
I know he's struggling a little bit right now, but it's not all Mason.
No.
It's not all one thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a combination of things, and I think they were. I know this season's kind of lost a little bit, but I think we got a good staff. Coach Houston's he's won before, and everywhere he's been, and he's won there, and everybody didn't want him to leave, and now you get people that want him to leave it, and that's the only thing that disappoints me in Pirate Nation is not that they're not happy, because I'm not happy that we're not winning, but get behind a phone and bashing the coaches and the players is not the right thing to do. It's just like if I had my son out there on the field and he made an error or struck out, I don't want somebody in the stands or somebody on Facebook saying that my kid's sorry and can't play. Right. And that's the only thing that disappoints. I know they're not having a good year, all right? But I'm telling you, coaching is not easy, guys. I mean, you got to depend on I depend on 16, 17-year-olds, and they're depending on 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and it's hard. And and I know everybody's disappointed, but sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is. I mean, they need help too to get players, and whatever it takes. But
I hadn't been doing it quite as long as you have. I'm only in my 13th year. I hope I make it to 39 years before that. Depending on 16 and 17-year-olds, you're right. Sometimes I got a lot of gray hairs, and it didn't come from my kids. It came from those kids.
Yeah. When you're watching Mason, this year, seeing him play in high school, you talk about his big arm, and I watch him, as a layman. And I kind of wonder why we don't roll the pocket more with him. I kind of wonder why we don't. He seemed comfortable running the little bit of speed option we ran against SMU. He seemed very comfortable doing that. I've heard about his big arm. We really haven't thrown downfield with him yet this year. I know some of that's to do with the offensive line. Ideally, what do you think Mason would be most comfortable doing? What kind of system?
It's hard for me to say, what system. I know our system was not as complicated, but it's not going to be as complicated in high school as in college. But he's a type person. Like I used to tell my lineman at Carolina Forest, I said, just give the man some time. Y'all can't let him have pressure, because if he gets time, he's gonna complete the ball. He's gonna throw the ball. So getting a little more time, and it's tough now on the offensive line coach who lost 3 players right before right when he got there. People don't realize that we got one at Auburn starting, one at Oregon starting, and he's lost some players, and we're trying to get players in, and he's had a tough time, man. With all the people we lost two tackles that went to tried out for the league. So we had some good linemen. Coach Shankweiler was our line coach. He's a great line coach. I've learned a lot from him, but his new guy seems to be good. I've talked to him, and I think he's a good coach. I really do. I don't know if he's got the players right now. And because I'm telling you, we face some good defenses, and we face some good defensive lines. I hope we can get better and give him a chance to recruit when he's here full time, instead of, having to come in and try to get players after we had 3 or 4, well, actually 5 people leave to the NFL or trying out for the NFL and to other schools. That's tough to replace all them. I'd hate to do that.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be staff changes. Donnie, I think it was probably the plan preseason anyway for Donnie to retire at the end of the year. Depending on, I've heard good things about the O-line coach also. One from an NFL offensive line coach who says he's the real deal. But you never know. With in all likelihood a new OC coming in, sometimes they want their own O-line coach. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Obviously, we need to hit the portal hard for some offensive linemen. That is a necessity beyond necessity.
Oh yeah.
We got a comment here from Justin Butts. He said one of his good family friends, Will Clark, coaches at Dillon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Will, I coached with his dad at Scotland. He's retired now. And then Will came to Scotland. He was actually part of the staff that we won a state championship in 2011 at Scotland. And he was a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, and I was the offensive line coach. And he's a great coach. And yeah, I like Will a lot.
You got any former offensive linemen of all the places you've coached that are somewhere right now that may be entering the portal this year that you can maybe give a nudge to?
I tell you what I got. I tell you, I got a left tackle right now that's the number one left tackle in the country, rated number one left tackle in the country.
Wow.
I'm assuming he's not coming to East Carolina.
Well, right now he's going to South Carolina, and that's getting back to about the money and stuff. He's going to get a lot of money thrown at him because the Alabama coach, offensive line coach, and the LSU line coach said, "Coach, he's the best left tackle in the country. He's not a center. He's not a guard. He's not a right tackle. He is a left tackle, and he's one of the best. He is the best one we've seen." And so they're on him. Everybody's off him. Alabama, everybody, but his parents were part of South Carolina when they went to South Carolina, and he likes it there. He's got some friends that he's met that's there, so he's very happy going to South Carolina. And I don't try to influence them where to go. They got to be happy because I don't want to say you need to go to Georgia, you need to go to Alabama, and then he gets there and he's not happy.
Right.
So he's got to be happy, and he's a great kid, and he's a super player. I mean, he's a better person than he is player. I promise you that. He's got great parents, and he's just a great kid. And I've enjoyed coaching him. You know, as a ninth grader, I brought him up on the varsity just to be on I want to be on him all the time. He want to go down and let the JV coach him, which we got a good JV line coach, but I wanted to coach him. And about halfway through the season, he was ready to play some, and he played a lot. And then it kind of hit after that. He started recruiting. We go back to talking about, you hadn't coached 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds. He was probably 14, just turned 15.
Wow.
We were watching film, and I said, watch your guy in front of you, see what his weaknesses are, what he's doing, and stuff like that. He looked at me and said, "Coach, how do I know which one's me?" I said, "You're the left tackle. You played left tackle on that." I know, because one time they're going this way, one time they're going this way. And so that, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to coach a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old. But now he knows. He knows now, and he knows how to do it. He's a great kid.
Justin Butt said he'll pony up the money to get him here.
Yeah, probably take a lot though.
Yeah, it'll probably take a lot.
Yeah,
we're gonna put a picture of him on the side of the 18-wheeler. Justin, he's gonna be on the side of the hauler. So there you go. That's Justin's involved with our transporting company there. So you know what? I'll tell you what. You tell him Coach Beamer and South Carolina will wait on him. Just come here. He can start as a freshman, and then he can get more NIL money from South Carolina in the portal.
Yeah. But you never know. It runs in the cycles. Like I was talking, Coach Tesh, he recruits our area, and I love Coach Tesh. He's a great coach, and he recruits our area. And I was talking to him. I said, the way this portal thing goes, he might not be happy, and one day wants to find a place. Maybe East Carolina might be the place.
Might be.
Yeah, but you never know. You never know with kids like that. But
let me ask you a question. You deal with different different college coaches, obviously coming to recruit players. Shane Beamer comes across as incredibly nice. How is he personally? Have you dealt with him much?
Yeah. Here recently now, like last spring, we dealt with a lot of them. He flew in, Kirby Smart, all of them flew. They came from everywhere. Man, they're flying in. Beamer is a good person. He really is, and he treats you right, and he's a good person.
Yeah,
he's not too big. He's not too big for you.
Yeah, he and crazy thing about it, Pirate Nation, when we made the terrible mistake of firing Ruffin McNeil, Shane Beamer was on his dad's staff at Virginia Tech at that time, and Frank Beamer retired. Shane Beamer contacted Jeff Comfort about the job, and Comfort wouldn't even give an interview at the time.
Jeez.
So,
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, Justin is saying he'll park his rig right outside that boy's class if he want to. That
Justin, you talk to your dad and y'all pony up some money there. Let's get him.
let's go get him.
Yeah. So Coach, I'm gonna call you Coach now because
That's fine. That's why I get called all the time.
Out of respect, is it more rewarding for you to win as a player, or is it more rewarding for you to win as a coach and see your players succeed?
Yeah, that's a tough question there now. But you know what? I want to see my kids.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather see them succeed. Whether and succeed is not going somewhere and being an All-American or being a star or whatever. It's what you end up afterwards.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? What happens after you graduate, after you play in pro football, whatever. That's succeeding to me. And that's gratifying. Really is. That's more gratifying than, them going and being a star here and there. Now that's nice, but yeah, I think it's the kids succeeding.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well,
but
Stevie,
I did enjoy playing, though. I did enjoy playing.
Well, I tell my kids all the time, as much I miss it so much, and this is the closest thing I can do to get back on the field is to coach you guys. So that's if I got to put up with them and deal with them for that long, that's what I'll do. But yeah, when you see a kid get it, and when it clicks, and he finally starts learning and knowing, all right, this is what I got to do. I got to do this, and it starts clicking. It starts happening for him. Yeah, that's been better to me than any win I've had back in high school when I played.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt.
Norman, looking back at some of the teams you played, those Miami teams were notorious for their swagger and talking trash. How bad was the trash talk against Miami? And was it any worse than it was against NC State?
Not really. I mean, Wilbur Marshall is probably the biggest junk
I was
talker.
getting ready to say his name.
Yep, he was probably the biggest junk talker. But I mean, we played against Jerome Brown when he was a freshman, and he didn't seem like no freshman though. Jerome Brown played for the Phillies and everything, but he really didn't talk junk. He was a freshman, but he talked junk on the field though, as far as playing.
I know when we had Tony Collins on a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the Super Bowl where he was with the Patriots, and I asked him who talked the most junk for the Bears that year. He said Wilbur Marshall talked the entire game.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I knew Wilbur Marshall. Yeah, he likes to talk a lot.
He could back it up too.
Yes, he could. He definitely could.
So, Steve, you got anything else for Norman?
I'm good. I just want to say thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to talk to somebody from that team. That's those teams, the 82, 83 teams. That's what made me a Pirate, and I'm still a Pirate to this day because of you guys.
Me too. I'm a Pirate till I die.
Same here, Norman. I've been, like I said, I've been following the program since '91. 11 years old, and became a diehard fan in '94. Hadn't missed a game since. I don't have the years you guys put in, but also a Pirate till I die. I think that's one thing we can all agree on. Is we love ECU.
Me and my wife talked about this when we retire, and I don't know how much longer I'm gonna do it. It's getting close to being retired. We want to move back to Greenville and stay.
Okay.
Yeah, we love it there. My daughter played softball there, and I play football, so we love it there in Greenville. It's just a great town.
Well, we will definitely welcome you back. I don't live in Greenville. I'm in the big city of LaGrange, if you know where that is. And North Lenore High School will be our local high school for frame of reference. And but I'm sure everybody would love to have you back in Greenville. Tony Collins is moving to Louisiana. Maybe y'all can move into his house.
There you go. Yeah, we've been looking at different houses and stuff, but hopefully one day I can get back there. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to baseball games. I enjoy going to basketball games. I enjoy going, and I'm not, I'm not a golfer. I play some golf, but I'm not one who can go every day and go out there and play golf. But I could go out there and watch a game anytime, whether it's football, basketball, or softball or baseball.
Yeah, you'd be right there for you. Have all the the sport's right at your fingertips. You can go to a game every day. So my dream is to kind of go the other direction, not for the football, but one day I plan to retire to the Boone, Blowing Rock area and just have to deal with Appalachian State football.
Oh, yeah.
More so than watch it. But Norma, we thank you for coming on. We thank you for your contributions to the football program.
Yes.
Both, but yeah, as a player and your continued contributions, coaching high school athletes, and we got to somehow convince that kid there, that left guard or left tackle to come be a Pirate. He don't need that. He don't need anything. South Carolina's got enough good players. The SEC is overrated.
Yeah.
Tell them how pretty the girls are in Greenville.
Oh, yeah. I told him that now. Yeah, I've told him that what kind of the ratios there, and it's good. Hey, I enjoyed talking to y'all guys. It's been an honor, and I like listening to y'all show, but I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you, Norman.
Thank you for coming on.
No problem, guys.
All right, Stevie. So we gotta start breaking down this week's game against UTSA as we look forward to playing the Roadrunners down in San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. UTSA, Frank Harris, hell of a quarterback, year number 7 for him in San Antonio. He's had some injuries, COVID year. It's crazy to think somebody's been at a place for 7 years.
Him and Bo Nix are going at it for who can stay in college the longest.
No kidding. There's quite a few actually that are in their 7th year.
Yeah.
I remember when Patrick Pinckney, Patrick Pinckney was in his 6th year, and people were like, 6th year? That's
nothing now.
Exactly. So, it's a tall task. Their defense is pretty good. They held Florida Atlantic 10 points last week. Our offense is a hot mess. You never know what's going to happen on any given Saturday, but unfortunately, I see a blowout this Saturday.
I'm on the same way. Emmanuel Paul, who is watching, said, "What percent do you give the guys give the Pirates to win this weekend?"
Oh God, 5%.
Yeah, I would say 5, maybe 6, 7 at the most.
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's going to be pretty this week. I really don't.
No, I don't either. Frank Harris. Frank Harris got the experience. They got an offensive line that can hold up. They'll be able to score on our defense, unlike a lot of other schools have. A lot of schools struggle against our defense. They'll be able to score on us, and then their defense is good. I think this is probably going to be a pretty lopsided score. I'm thinking something like 42-7.
I'd say something in that. What time is it? It says 3:30 game. Okay.
Yeah, 3:30 ESPN Plus. I don't think it's gonna be pretty. I don't even want to get into all the stuff with the coaching after having Normal Quick on. We'll save that for another time. I don't want to be a hypocrite either. But at the same time, out of respect for Norman and him being on our show tonight, I'll save my thoughts and opinions on the coaching staff for a different show.
Yeah.
One thing for sure, Mike Houston can coach. I've never once said Mike Houston couldn't coach. Well, what I kind of think has happened here is a situation where he didn't develop his offensive players, properly. Now, whether that was because he thought he wasn't going to be here, he thought last year's team was probably going. He's been a ladder climber his whole career, and
right.
That's a proven fact. You just look at how he's never been anywhere this long. And I don't know if it's because he doesn't know how to develop a program for the long haul because he's never done it, or if it was just because he didn't think he was going to be here. But I know we lost some offensive linemen to the portal, and that is definitely affecting the team. But there is no reason we should be this bad on offense. And, it goes back to really we knew what we were going to have at offensive line. But I think a lot of it has to do, besides the offensive line, is I don't think we do a good job developing quarterbacks. I don't think we've had a true quarterbacks coach the whole time he's been here. I think Holt Naylor succeeded in spite of that. And that's not a knock on Donnie. I don't know that Donnie had Chris Redmond at Louisville, I don't know that Donnie's ever been known as a great quarterbacks coach. He's a hell of a receivers coach. And also something that, this is hindsight. This is our second guessing. I talked ad nauseum to Bubba over the last few years about the lack of recruiting at receiver. I didn't ever think we had been bringing in enough receivers. And I also don't think we play enough receivers. And still this year, I don't think we play enough receivers to get them ready. So I think it's a combination of things. And, I'm hoping we don't have worst case scenario and finish 1-11. But we won't get into all that right now. But as far as this week's game against UTSA, no, I think it's going to be ugly. I really do.
Unfortunately, I think so too.
And the rumor and speculation out there is that oh God, I'm having a brain fart. Stevie, help me out. Our tight end, Shane Calhoun. There's the word is Shane Calhoun suffered an injury at the end of the Charlotte game and may be out for the rest of the season. Thankfully,
that's exactly what we need.
Exactly. Thankfully, we do have Tyler Savage back as of last week. If we didn't, Steve, you might would have had to sit up and play tight end.
Hey, put me out there. 50-year-old, I still got it.
At this
It would be.
At this
You
point,
remember on the Water Boy when I guess all the other schools decided to let their Water Boys. I think Michigan, they had a clip of the Michigan Water Boy getting out of the field and he got nailed. Yeah. That would be me. That would be me.
So thankfully we have Savage back this week because if we didn't have him with Calhoun being out, we'd be in a mess tight end. But Calhoun's one of the guys that has been productive at times this year, and so that takes another offensive weapon away. So we're going to struggle this week, to put it nicely.
Yeah. So. Emmanuel Paul, he's asking, do we think getting rid of Houston is the answer?
I think if we go 1-11, it's going to have to be. I don't see him surviving. A losing season is one thing. A 1-11 season where you're averaging, 10, 12 points a game, I don't see how you can survive that. Whether it's the right answer or not, I just don't think people, boosters, etc., will allow that to happen. It's hard to come back from 1-11.
And I mean,
go ahead, Stevie.
It's like I said, I've seen some rough years since, of course, everybody talks the Thompson years, Scotty Montgomery years, but back in the day, Art Baker, when he took over, he didn't have great seasons either. But the difference was we were playing teams like Auburn, Penn State, Miami, and we went down to Penn State and almost beat Penn State at Penn State one year with Art Baker there. And it was not where like a 10-point lead. Like I think that was somebody said the other night when Charlotte got up 10 points with our offense, it was like, okay, game's over. Our offense will never score 14 points or higher, or get over 10 points in that little time the way they're going. I mean, and that's just sad. I mean, it's sad when you're looking at a college team that can't get you don't have enough confidence in them to get 10 points.
And that's exactly right. And we went 1-11 when John Thompson was here. He did have an FBS win over Army, and that was a very tough schedule. Miami, West Virginia, North Carolina. That was back when Conference USA was still Conference USA, and Louisville was Louisville, and TCU was TCU, and Southern Miss was Southern Miss, and et cetera, et cetera. So, with this schedule and this offense, I don't see him surviving 1-11. I hope we manage to win a couple more games, get to 3-9. Have some, maybe we win the last two against Navy and Tulsa, take some positive momentum in the next season, make a lot of changes on the offensive side of the ball with both staff and personnel, with hitting the portal, get a new OC in here. But I think if it's 1-11, I don't see how you can retain him.
And nobody wants to see a coach get fired, get let go here.
No, I hope we went out.
Yeah,
I hope we went out.
I don't want to have to go through, the whole coaching carousel thing again. But if I'm like you, if it goes to 1-11, it's very doubtful to me that Houston will be back next year.
No, because the noise is just going to keep getting louder and louder.
Exactly.
The Charlotte game was kind of the catalyst where people said enough is enough, and you get blown. And boy, I tell you what, having UTSA and Tulane right after that.
Oh gosh.
It could get real nasty around here the next couple of weeks, and I'm gonna try to. I'm not gonna change my perspective at all, but I'm gonna try to keep my cool and measure what I say a little bit better. But I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I feel how I feel, and I'm gonna continue to say what I've been saying, just probably in a little bit more measured way. So we'll see how it plays out. I think for us to succeed this year, Stevie, we're going to have to be very creative on offense. I really believe doing some different things like running some option type stuff.
I agree.
Throw some stuff at them they haven't seen, some stuff that's easy to execute where you can get players in space. We run very little option. We come out this week against UTSA and run option. They're not going to be prepared for it. You can, that's, who knows, you can spring an upset that way. But if we keep doing what we've been doing, we're going to have the same results. I can tell you that.
And you got to make adjustments. I mean, you can't.
You got to. You talked about changing your offense midseason at the high school level. I mean, I think we're past that point now, but we can do some things differently. I think at some point you have to start playing Raheem Jeter. They say he ain't ready, and I would say how could it possibly be any worse? I guess you could ruin the kid by getting him out there too early. But in terms of the team standpoint, I don't see that could be any worse. I don't really think, and I hate saying this, being we had a former coach of his own, I don't think you're going to see Mason at quarterback again this year. No. I could be wrong, but I don't think you're going to. My guess is Mason will probably be in the portal at the end of the season. I think you'll probably see Flynn start this week, and wouldn't be surprised to see Raheem Jeter moved up to the backup role. Could be wrong, who knows? But we'll see. But is there anything else? Any more questions from the listeners, Stevie? If not,
no, I think that was it. We appreciate you guys. Appreciate Justin and Emmanuel chiming in. Get your questions out there, guys. And I'm the one. Me and Bubba are manning the comments up here. But Justin Butcher said, I think you'll see both quarterbacks in the portal after this year. So I probably so.
I don't know. Flynn's only got 1 year of eligibility left. Who knows? He may stick around. He may just be done with football. Who knows? I don't know. I look back at this season and I think back, if we could have just beat Rice and Charlotte, we'd be sitting here with 3 wins, looking at the second half of the year going, is there any way we can win 3 more games? Nobody would be talking. We wouldn't have to be talking about firing the coach. It would just be kind of a disappointing season, but it would kind of be what it was. My prediction this year was, I said 6-6. I said I could see us going as bad as 4-8. So it wasn't like I was expecting us to be, winning the conference championship this year. I realized what we lost, but to be this bad is really unacceptable. And I know, and there, as you see on the screen, one thing that will help. It ain't the answer. It ain't the full answer. No matter who's the head coach, whether it's Mike Houston, Rich Rodriguez, or somebody totally different, you got to give the team boneyard, for NIL for ECU, and you can join as little as $10 a month. You can't even get a combo meal at McDonald's hardly for $10 a month.
No, anymore. You can't. You really
for $10 a month. You damn sure can't for $10 a month. You can't even get one for $10 at lunchtime anymore.
Yeah, a visit.
So $10 a month ain't nothing. So I would encourage, give more than that if you can. But hey, look, if you think you can't afford to give, they wouldn't have a $10 level if they didn't think it was worth their time. So you can join for as little as $10 a month, or hey, give $1,000 a month if you can, or 20,000, whatever you can afford. Join and help the team behind the team, and no matter, like I say, who the head coach is, giving NIL will only help the program.
Definitely.
So, all right, well, I think we're going to do, Stevie, I believe we have a Pirate preview coming up after this. I think, Bubba, is that right? If it's not, stop me now. But I believe if you stick around, the Pirate preview's coming up with Bubba, Dave, and Matt, I believe.
Yes, Bubba said yes. That's
okay. I may or may not take part. I'm pretty out of it by now. I'm about podcasted out, but I may join for the second half of the show, if nothing else. But
you
anyway,
were
stay
talking
tuned for
about
that.
us old folks a while ago, and you can't hang.
Hey man, look, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's to get into the details here. I use a CPAP machine,
Right.
and I'm starting to think my CPAP machine might need to be adjusted because I have been sleepy as I can be, no matter when I go to bed. So I'm thinking maybe the pressure needs to be adjusted on that. So I probably need to go see another doctor about something else.
I agree. Yeah.
But yeah, so for Norman Quick, Bubba Rosenbaum producing, and Stevie Flythe, I'm Kyle from LaGrange Barber. You have been watching and listening to Just Another Sports Podcast here on the Sports Objective Podcast Network. Stay tuned. Following this episode, if you're watching live on Wednesday night, we will have a Pirate preview. And again, for Stevie Flythe, I'm Kyle Barber. Good night and go Pirates.
See ya.